Caleb, him, is a theist and wants to ask our thoughts on scientific evidence against God's existence. Well, hey, Caleb, you're chatting with Armin, Navabi, and SR. What's up?
Hi. So, I mean, yeah, you got it. I was just wondering, what do you guys, because I know this is the Atheist Experience, and atheist meaning you guys don't believe in God, or else you don't think there's sufficient evidence for you guys to believe in God. And so I was just wondering, what would you say is like what you think scientific evidence against God's existence? Because, like, I'm a Christian, but I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion on that.
Yeah, Armin?
Which God? The Christian God?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Hello?
Caleb, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Armin was asking which God were you talking about? Were you talking about like the Christian, the God of the Bible, like Protestant, probably?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Denomination doesn't really matter.
I know you're a Christian, but you could,
Yeah,
maybe as a Christian, you might be asking us just like any form of a deity that is the creator of the universe. Like maybe you're not very picky about making about the Jesus as a God or the God of the Bible. Maybe you're like any form of a conscious being that is the creator of the universe, you would be okay with it, or you're specifically talking about a God within the framework of the Judeo-Christian ideology.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering, because I know that you guys don't believe in like any higher power, right? Like you don't believe in the supernatural. So I was just wondering, like, why you don't think that there's a higher power, like what you think is evidence against there being supernatural or like.
So it depends. Kind of general. This is why I'm asking which God you're talking about, because at least me and Elliot, I don't think we're making claims here, unless your God is self-contradictory. We're not making claims. We're not making the claim that there is no God. We're saying we don't believe in a God because people who do believe in God haven't provided any evidence for it. So we just lack belief until there is any evidence. But there are some definitions of God that we could argue against, but we usually don't do that because we don't need to, because the believers haven't even begun to provide any evidence for the existence of God. That's why we just sit back and we just enjoy not seeing any evidence from believers and call it out. But it seems like you're trying to shift the burden of proof on the atheist. I mean, I'm happy to do that for fun, but do you understand that why we don't have to provide any evidence for the lack of existence of God? The person who's making a claim, that's the person that has to provide the evidence. Do you understand that point?
Yes, I understand that claim, but I was asking you guys also. So, like, do you think that Christians or like the theists have to have evidence, but you guys don't? Because you said that it's the lack of evidence for you guys, but like we're the ones who have to provide evidence. You guys do like make the claim.
It depends if we're making the stance that your particular deity doesn't exist, right? So like if Armin and I are taking the positive claim that, hey, there is actually sufficient justification to accept not simply that it is not true or not justified, but that it is unjustified, that it is specifically false. There is positive confirmation that it is not true. It is false, right? If that's the stance we're taking, well, then, yeah, of course we'd need to provide evidence. If what we're saying is, hey, you came up to me, said, this thing's real, and then that was the end of it, then yeah, we're not saying, hey man, that thing positively doesn't exist necessarily, right? We're just simply saying the information currently provided is not sufficient to justify us accepting that claim. Does that make sense?
Let me make this simple, by the way, Caleb, let me make this simple. Like, let me make a claim right now, okay? I have an elephant right now, a baby elephant, right now sleeping in my bedroom on my bed. All right? Do you believe me?
Yes.
You believe me?
It sounds unlikely. It sounds unlikely.
Okay, no, the question is, do you believe me? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, that's a very good response. I would like that. That's a proper response. Okay, because I haven't provided you any evidence. You shouldn't believe me. You should not believe me. That's a justified position that you have right now. Okay, can you prove that there's no elephant in my bedroom right now? Can you prove it?
Yeah, I could go there. I could go.
No, you don't know where I live.
Yeah, he's saying like right now when Armin's making the claim. Do you have any way of disproving?
The answer is you can't. You can't. But even though you're justified to say I don't believe you without being able to prove it, without being able to prove that there's no elephant in my bedroom. Right now, you have no way of proving that there's no elephant in my bedroom. Even if you wanted to, you would not be able to find me. You don't know where I live. But still, you're justified in not believing me because I didn't provide you with any reason to believe me. So because you're not claiming. So here, Caleb, you didn't say that there's no elephant in my bedroom. You didn't actually make a claim. If you actually had made the claim that, no, Armin, I'm making the claim that there's no elephant in your bedroom, then I would like, okay, you made the claim. Now you have to provide an evidence for your claim. But you didn't make a claim. You just simply refused to accept my claim. Because I failed to give you evidence, you don't need evidence. My failure to provide you with evidence makes your position justifiable. Your lack of belief, you're not making a claim, you're just not accepting my claim. Without evidence, you have a justifiable position. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. But I unlike the elephant thing and like the no evidence thing, I do think that there is evidence for God's existence. I do think that there is evidence.
Perfect. What? Yeah. Give us one then. Just stick with any one. Normally we say like, hey, what's your favorite or what's the strongest? Because that tends to make the most sense. Like, give us the best one. But honestly, I'll just accept any. Give us one piece of evidence, Caleb, that you think it serves as justification for believing there is a God. And let's talk about it.
Have you guys heard of the cosmological argument?
Yeah.
The way that I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Frank Turek.
Yeah, I've heard of him. I thought you were going to mention Craig, but because William Lane Craig is the guy that created the Kalam cosmological argument. And he bases that on 14th century Muslim arguments.
Philosophical one.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, so what I was saying though is do you guys believe that the universe had a beginning? Because this is the first part of the argument is saying that the universe had a beginning, and I'll tell you why.
We can just grant the first start the first thing of the Kalam. I mean, I have problems with it, and we've had many discussions that are all recorded, and I definitely would suggest going back and looking at some of those to hear how we've hashed this out for years. But the first Kalam cosmological argument, we'll just let it go, man. Everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe had a beginning. The universe has a cause. I mean, we can accept that and move on from there.
Cosmological argument. The Kalam cosmological argument and the cosmological argument are two different things. The cosmological argument, as I have learned about it, especially from the curriculum I was doing, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist curriculum. I don't want to get into to what that title means or faith or whatever. But the way I've learned that,
pretty confident Turek is just cribbing from Craig. But if you just want to give us the argument, then we can just go there. Like that'll just be quicker.
Okay, so what I'm saying though is that you said, granted, the universe had a beginning. So if the universe had a beginning, the universe couldn't have created itself, because like you see, before I was born,
follow.
I couldn't have created myself. I didn't exist to create myself. I didn't exist at the time. And so if the universe had a beginning, then that had a starting point. It is not infinite.
So the problem here is one of equivocation already. Hang on, this is important, because what you're doing with the term universe there is you're using it in different ways. So when you're first using it, you're talking about the local presentation of space-time that has to deal with things like the Higgs field and, particles having mass and spin and charge and all that jazz, okay? But then you're shifting that terminology to represent the universe, meaning all of everything that could or has existed, right? So that is a problem because we don't have any way to know that. So the universe in its current presentation, yeah, it does seem to make sense that before that existed, it wasn't capable for that to make itself, right? But if you're saying the universe, the cosmos, in that sense of everything that's going on, neither of us have knowledge on that, so you can't make that claim.
Let him. Can you give your best understanding of this whole argument from beginning to end in just a few lines?
Yeah, do that.
The cosmological argument?
Yeah, just your understanding of it in just a few lines.
Okay, so what I was saying is that the cosmological argument states that if the universe had a beginning, this is evidenced by an acronym that Frank Turk uses, SURGE, SURGE. One of the S is the second law of thermodynamics. The U is the universe expanding.
You're doing a very poor job at explaining it.
Yeah. Can you give what Armin was asking for was like the premises and then the conclusion? Can you just snip it for us? Give us a succinct version so that we can kind of take it all. Is what he was asking for.
To conclusion like that,
right? If you can't, that's okay.
The reason why I'm doing that is because I want you guys to understand what I'm saying, because I feel like
we understand. In fairness, like, you're not the first person to ever talk about this. You're not. We've talked about this a lot, and what we're trying to do is just like expediency's sake. You're not the only caller, you know. So if you could just do what Armin said.
You're not introducing this argument to us. I heard to burst your bubble. We have been dealing with this argument for more than a decade here. Okay, so but I want your version of it. Okay, just go through it. Premise, and we have so many other callers, so I just want to see how you form this argument. And by the way, this is not an evidence. This is rationalism. This is not empiricism. So don't call it evidence. This is an argument. But go on.
Well, the argument's based on evidence. The argument's based on the evidence that the universe had a beginning. What do you think is outside of the law?
Empirical data. You don't have that. But go on. But make the argument. Make the argument. Premise 1, premise 2, conclusion. Yeah, but make it, for crying out loud. Just make the argument.
I'm trying to. I'm saying I'm just not putting it in the exact way that you want. I asked you a question that has to do with the argument.
So Caleb, stop. Caleb, you sound to me like an individual who most likely has existed longer than 24 hours. That seems to be the case, which means I feel very confident you have at least some familiarity with a call-in show. Okay. This particular one has been going on for like 2.5 decades. Okay. So I understand that you would really appreciate if we had 45 minutes to sit there and listen to all of the varying points that you would like to add before just getting to what the fuck you're trying to say. What I would suggest, just do the thing that Armin's asking for, and you'll get more time to talk. It really is that simple, man. Because again, we've got other callers. We've got other things to do. I'm behind on my announcements that I'm supposed to say. And the crew has already yelled at me and said, Jesus Christ, SR, what the fuck? We're never going to let you back on. Okay. So what I'm saying is, for expediency's sake, please just do what Armin said, man. Pretty simple. Just give us the argument. And from there, then we can start talking about all the evidence, all the reasons that you have this argument. But again, just in fairness to what Armin said, like, this is different than the evidence. This is the rationalism side. This is the argument side. The evidence stuff comes after this to support the premises. But you're going to hear a beep because I'm unmuting you. Okay, so you're back on. Give us just succinctly your understanding of this argument, and then I'm gonna kick it to Armin so he can combat it.
Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, actually, so I didn't really think about presenting the argument in a premise by premise way, but I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to like call back when I have it in a better way and where I can explain it quicker.
I love that. I love that, Caleb. I freaking love that, dude. Thank you so much. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome, man. We are 2 calls in, and I am freaking loving our callers so far. Caleb, beautiful. Armin, do you have something else you want to say real quick?
Can I recommend? That's very good, Caleb. That's a very good response. I'm actually surprised that you gave that response. I'm as excited as Elliot is. May I recommend also that if you go and study how this argument is formed, also try before you call, also study the pushback against it. Like, try to understand why so many people, every single premise of this argument has a lot of holes in it, and there have been people for hundreds of years that have been showing how flawed this argument is. And even if you accept every single premise, the conclusion doesn't even follow from the premises. This is one of the worst arguments I've ever heard. I mean, actually, I don't know. They're all so bad. I don't know which one is worse. But this argument is so flawed. None of the premises could be supported, and even if they could, the conclusion doesn't follow. So while you study this argument, study all the arguments against it as well, so you come very equipped to be able to handle it, to defend it. Okay, try reading the opposite side as well, not just the people who are defending the argument.
Yeah, seriously, Caleb, that's awesome, man. I think this was a great freaking call, and I am excited to speak with you again in the future. Seriously, man, I love that. And yeah, we're going to let you go and grab some other people, but I really appreciate that honesty. And look, folks, this is important that we have moments like that, okay? Because I bet you right now, Armin, I'm not even looking at the live chat, but I bet you there's some people out there that are like, fucking owned him, fucking got him. Like, no, guys, stop making it seem like not knowing things off the top of your head is some huge, character flaw or something. That like being incorrect on some super nuanced point just makes you a terrible piece of shit. Like, calm that down. We have all been wrong. And funny enough, we are all wrong right now about something. And the only reason we haven't figured it out and changed our minds is because we don't know it yet. It's okay to take more time to study things, to come back when you're fresh with bullet points and notes. That is beautiful. I wish everybody would act like that, whether you're a believer or not.